Hi, this is Chris, and this is the Budget Dungeon. This week, I decided I was going to do a remake of the dice tray that I did last week. Last week, when we made the dice tray, this was the end result of how it came out. It came out pretty good for on the fly, but as I was looking at it, I decided that it could be done a little bit better. So I sat down, I played with some pieces, and came up with this design, which actually, rather than the tray locking in, it actually slides through. So I figured I would make this to give an option for anybody who's watching and says, is there any other way we could do this? So just like the last one, we bought some stuff from the dollar store. Uh, they have these little trays that come apart really easy. It's really thin wood, really, really good for arts and crafts. And the side rails where the lid slides into place actually are the sides of that tray. So they actually already have your groove pre-cut. To save some time on this video, I have pre-cut some of the stuff. So I have my base here, um, and I did a couple of them just so that if I do happen to mess one up today, I've got a secondary one to go with. I was thinking about making it a little bit thicker, but I don't think that's really necessary. Um, Had to get another piece of cork, the adhesive cork that they have at the dollar store for the uh, rolling surface for the dice tray. And I pre-cut my two side pieces for the railing to attach to. So what we will be doing today is I'll just be going through the real quick construction of this, and then we will uh, measure out the back and the front and get those put on there so that it's a nice enclosed box. So first thing we want to do, go ahead and peel off this backing on this foam to reveal the foam. And I might have mentioned this before, but if I didn't, or if this is your first time watching a video, the foam board that the dollar store has, you can get two different types. One has a white backing, the other one has a black backing. For some reason, the black backing really seems to come off a lot easier than the white one. So, just a little information there for you. So, because I already know that this base is the size that I want it to be, the basically the same size as the top board with a little bit more on the sides, just so that the railing can slide in. This base piece actually measures at 5 inches, whereas the sliding part of the tray is at 4.5 or 4 3/4. So we're putting an extra 1/4 inch just so that the piece can actually slide in and out the way that it's supposed to. Um, and in my recreation of this, what I found out was that by it being an exact measurement is I do have to kind of like play with it a little bit to get the cover to go in correctly. If you're okay with that, then that's fine. You can always move it around, but I want something that closes a little more seamlessly. So there we go. So I've got this. And by all means, if you have not watched the first video on the dice tray, I really recommend that you do that because I go into a lot more detail with the measurements and the cuts and everything else. And like I said, it's all pretty much the same. So, and I didn't follow my own advice from the last video where I just pulled back a little bit of the backing on the cork, and I went ahead and just yanked off the whole thing, getting a little excited here. So now I've got to make sure that I get this lined up exactly right and exactly straight and walk it down rather than just being able to pull the backing back. And there we go. Okay. So I ended up off just a little bit, but that's okay. I can fix this. So anytime you're doing crafts like this by hand without precision instruments, you're going to end up with a little bit of discrepancy in your measurements or your cuts, even when you're using something to guide. It's okay. You know, you're never going to be as precision by hand as you would with actual machinery that's designed to do what you're trying to do. So there we go with that. Okay. So now I've got my two side pieces. And what we're going to do is these pieces came in at 1.5 inches. So you've got your baseboard, and then we've got this piece that's going to go on top. And you see how it's nice and pretty much exactly even all the way across the top. We will have to shave that down just a little bit for the right fit. So here we go with that. And for this, I want to peel the paper backing off of both sides. And then I'm going to take my hot glue and I'm going to go right down this seam. If you get hot glue on the cork, it's not a big issue. You just want to try to keep the bead as small as possible so you get that nice flush fit. So we're going to take this and get it lined up. Get it nice and straight. And there we go. And again, like I've said before, if you've watched anything else that I've done, the hot glue sets really, really quick and it bonds really well with the foam. So now the easiest way to do this is going to be from the side here. I'm going to put this guy right there. And I'm just going to come and get us nice and lined up here. I want this exactly flush on one side. On the back end, it's not that big of a deal. And I'll go ahead and with this pushed into place, come down and just take away the overhang here. And there we go. So now I can take and I can put a good amount of hot glue on that. Hopefully it doesn't start drying too much before my fingers decide they want to actually grab a glue stick. So I don't want to have to peel this off and then start over. There we go. There we go. So it's really important that you make sure that you get that groove up. And get this guy in place. So now I've got one side complete. I'm going to go through and do the same thing on the other side. And the nice thing is because we've got our first side done, we can line these guys up just like this. And we can come right down. Go through. Hot glue on the edge of the base. Get this guy in place. Nice and straight. There we go. And come through. And make her cut. Get that nice and even all the way down. And I apparently had a little bit of an overflowing glue there, which is okay. I can just pop that up. Give us a nice, healthy squirt of hot glue in here. And push it back into place. So now we've got that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my top. I'm going to go ahead and slide it in. So I've got something a bit more sturdy here. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is on one side, we're going to come all the way to the top. On the other side, we're going to come just below. That way it gives us the lip for this to travel through. And as you can see, this moves pretty good. And that extra support will come in handy for keeping this guy together as well. Actually, I'm thinking about this a little bit, and because I don't want to put a hole in this one, because when I put a hole in the last one, it kind of splintered up a little bit, and I had to put some tape over it to kind of make it so that I don't risk getting splinters if I use that one. So I think what I'm going to do with this one is I'm just going to come to the part way point on either side. That way I can just kind of puff this guy out from either side. So I think that's going to be better. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a nice piece of board here that's relatively straight and definitely thick enough. And we're going to grab my pencil and we're going to line up the outside edge here. And we're going to just come down. Make our cut. Move this guy off to the side. We know that we want to come, go pull this guy out so I can get my exact spot here. Line this guy up on the edges. And put a mark here. I'm going to put a mark here. And then draw my line there and make my cut. And there we go. So now with this, I can peel off here, and I can peel off on the back. Take my hot glue, I'm going to come down, come across, oops. Looks like I'm getting a little messy there, but that's okay. It's just hot glue, and with the backing still being on this bottom piece here, that little glob will peel off pretty easily. And the nice thing about the foam board is that little piece of wooden overhang that I had there, we're able to just kind of take and push the foam board around it. And after we paint this guy, you're not even really going to notice it. So we are good there. We can give us a quick check here from this side. Make sure we come in. Yeah, look at that. That's perfect. Okay, that's nice. Oh. So now we just got to do this side. So we will go back. We will get our piece of foam board. And one more time, we will line it up. Come down, go back in, and in case you can't really see it that well, where I'm making my guideline for how much to take off of this is exactly where this groove meets the bottom here. So I'm gonna do that. If I can find what I just did with my ruler, here it is. Make my line and make my cut. Now, for anybody who's not a skilled crafter, anybody who's just getting into this, when using an X-Acto knife, it is really important that you apply even pressure. You get a much cleaner cut. Don't sit there and try to like jab or be delicate or have to make several passes. You want to get as good of a cut as you can on a single pass. It helps make sure that your lines stay true, that your cut stays even, and especially with foam board, it stops you from getting like little flecks of foam board that just kind of turn into a huge mess. So little tip there for you. And of course, you want to make sure you have a sharp blade. Sharp blades are extremely important when it comes to X-Acto knives. Here in the next couple of weeks, we're going to start working on creating base tiles, terrain tiles, and things of that. So in addition to using foam board, we're going to be using chipboard, cardboard, and other stuff. And because those things do not cut as easily as the foam board, we want to practice these skills now to the extent that we can. Those things are also a little less forgiving with regard to gluing. So there we go. And again, because we've got that little bend right there where the wood came over a little bit, we can just take and kind of shape the foam board to it. So now I should be able to put this guy in on one side here and slide it through, and I can slide it out from either end without the need for that guide hole. And what I'm probably going to do is in the near future, I'm going to grab probably a rounded head screw, just a really small guy, and put him somewhere here in the middle, just to give me something I can kind of tug on or whatever, because I could see trying to do this way getting old really quick. Painting this stuff is really easy. You just let the glue set, let it dry. The wood takes paint very well. The foam board obviously takes paint very well. I would not recommend using your high quality model paints for painting something like this. Go to the dollar store, pick up these little black tubes of Jot acrylic paint. Some stores have more colors than others. Find the colors you want, or go to Walmart and you can pick up these apple barrel paints for like $1.47 a tube. Both of those are really good options and are really good for painting things like this that are not going to use up your expensive paints that you have for your models and your things that you actually put money into that you want to look really, really well. Anyways, that's it for this week. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Subscriptions really, really help me. So do the shares. Share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you feel comfortable sharing it. I look forward to seeing you next week as we get into developing terrain tile. Thank you again for stopping by and watching, and have a great day.